what's up, everybody? Steve D'Angelo here at Fantasy Savvy, back for some more NCAA picks as the games are in full swing. The conference tournaments are in full swing. So make sure you guys are liking, subscribing to the channel, Faceoff Sports Network. We're going to bring Josh in a minute. We're going to go over some games that already happened today, and then the games that are going to pop off tonight. Friday night conference tournaments is always a lot of big-time matchups and even more big-time matchups throughout the weekend. So Selection Sunday is this Sunday, obviously. The brackets will be out. And, this is our third show since we started. And then next week, obviously, we'll be back to break down the bracket. But, again, Faceoff Sports Network. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing to the channel. Tons of Dynasty stuff going on right now. We're actually doing a in-house Dynasty League at this moment. Josh just made a trade in the league. Maybe we'll talk about that real quick. But if you guys have any questions, comments, you want to talk about anything, NCAA basketball, even in fantasy football, you want to talk some Dynasty, we'll talk that as well. So we got our boy Josh in here to break down the picks. What's going on, man?
What's happening?
Chilling, man. So you want to talk about your boy Drake May? You just made that trade in the Dynasty League real quick.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to make it back to me. I had to do something. I really wanted him. I've been trying to get him in my other league, couldn't do it so far, so went ahead and we had about 6 counters back and forth. Finally worked out.
Yeah, Josh made that trade with Pete, so it's in-house. We got Hoff in there. Anthony's in the league. I'm in the league. Josh is in the league. A few other people. ATL Mikey, friend of the show, or as Hoff likes to call him, troll of the show, resident troll. But let's get into it, man. We had a few games pop off already today. And pretty interesting matchups. We had earlier today, kicking us off, we had Michigan State taking down Oregon 74-64. They covered the spread. I believe it was a 6-point spread. It was kind of, close at times, but Michigan State kind of controlled the game the entire time. Did you get a chance to check out that game? Any thoughts?
I didn't see a whole lot today so far. I've seen a little bit. I spent the day at the beach, but
okay.
I saw the scores. Michigan State's been real consistent lately. They just keep winning. It's impressive, but I don't think a whole lot of the Big Ten. So
yeah, well, we'll get another chance to watch them. Oregon's okay. Michigan State, number 7 in the country, 27-5. They're going to play in the semifinal tomorrow. I believe against Wisconsin, right? Because
Wisconsin's crushing UCLA.
UCLA right now. So it's tough for these teams, like these former Pac-12 teams. Now they got to play a 12 o'clock game. It's like 9 o'clock. It's just all weird, and they got to travel halfway across the country. These teams have been for a while, but it's just off. So that's one of the repercussions of breaking up the Pac-10. Memphis takes
still
care
really weird seeing Cal and Stanford in the ACC. I can't get used to it.
It's all whacked out. VCU, they're dominating the A-10. They've been kind of blowing out everybody. So they take care of business, 76-59. Memphis gets another win. Close game, though. Wichita State actually covered the spread in that one, 83-80. We'll see if Memphis, a little bit disappointing of late. Let's see if they can make a little bit of a run in the tournament. What do you think about Memphis?
I love their talent. I think they've got a lot of very good players. I don't love Penny Hardaway as a coach. I don't think he ever gets the most out of his teams. He's a very good recruiter. He gets a lot of talent. Those guards are really good. They got my boy Dane Danger in the middle. I love him.
From Illinois,
they've had a relatively easy time with that conference, and it's obviously not the best conference, so they're not getting challenged.
Seems like they're a little bit more dominant this year, and a little bit more impressive this year. So maybe Hardaway's kind of figured something out on the coaching end. Maybe they can make a Sweet 16 run this year.
Definitely Memphis, capable, I think.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look back at their schedule, see if they had any big time wins. Yeah, they beat Clemson by 5. They beat Ole Miss by 17. They beat Michigan State by 7. They beat UConn by 2, so a lot of good wins, and they lost to
Yeah.
Auburn by 14. And they beat
They played a
Missouri
lot
as
of
well.
big
Wow.
games early on.
Yeah, so this might be a little bit different year for Memphis, considering all those big time wins they got.
Yeah.
Maybe they can make a little bit more of a run. But that's pretty much it for the games that happened prior. Right now, like we said, UCLA is getting their ass kicked by Wisconsin. Texas and Tennessee are at half. Tennessee's up 41-38. Texas is still kind of on the bubble. This win would definitely secure them into the tournament. They played a pretty wild game yesterday, double overtime, and they get the win. But yeah, I mean, they may be in already, but this would surely seal it. Do you like Texas?
I mean, I love the SEC. I mean, it's going to be a shame if some of these teams don't make it, like Oklahoma and Texas, because these teams can make the Sweet 16 run or maybe even better. And, the conference is just so brutal that, they're going to lose a ton of games in conference. But hopefully the committee realizes that and lets them in. I mean, Texas has Trey Johnson, who is a top 5 pick for me for sure.
Yeah, I saw he got hurt early in the game. I don't know if he ever came back. Yeah, I saw he was on the sideline. Let me see if
he was playing right before the half. I was watching right before the half.
Yeah, he must have came back.
He's nasty. I think I have him number 2 on my draft board right now. So if you got a guy like that, you're capable of making a run in the tournament. He could get hot. I do like them. I mean, I like Tennessee a lot too. Tennessee's defense is so good. I kind of expect them to beat Texas, but Texas is desperate. They really need this to feel good about their chances.
Yeah, like I said, that was a wild game, double overtime against Texas A&M. Kentucky, Oklahoma last night, that game was unbelievable. Oweh with that freaking sprinting down the sideline, running along the baseline, left-handed runner, game winner. After Fears, Jeremiah Fears, who, he was making some nice plays. That was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, well. Fears. I have Fears as the top 5 player in the draft too. But Kentucky, that was back and forth. Kentucky looked like they had the game won, and then Oklahoma just stormed back and took the lead, and Oweh broke their hearts again.
Yeah, former
second
Oklahoma
time
player.
In like 2 weeks, right? Didn't he just do that to him?
Yeah, I mean, they asked him after the game if he had a little bit more extra motivation playing against his former team. He's like, nah. He's like, it feels good, but you could tell like he's definitely putting it up a gear against this team. Hopefully he continues that throughout the rest of this tournament and into the NCAA tournament. Regarding Jeremiah Fears, yeah, top 5. I would love to see them get into the tournament. They should be in, considering the SEC, considering they have 20 wins, and a player like Fears, you'd have to think the committee's going to get them in. Purdue gets a close game against USC, but they hang on. Missouri takes care of Mississippi State. Josh Hubbard, man, he loves to chuck, huh? For Mississippi State, a little guard there. Oh, we lost Josh. We'll get him back.
My camera is struggling.
Yeah, that's all right.
I got to figure something out with this camera.
Yeah, we'll get you a new one. But did you hear what I was saying about Mississippi State and Josh Hubbard chucking threes left and right yesterday? So anyway, they lost. Missouri gets the W. Marquette Xavier last night in the Garden. That was a great game. 89-87. Xavier was kind of on the bubble a little bit. Conwell went for 38. Cam Jones went for 28. It was a battle between those two guys. That was a great game. And then we're going to get Marquette UConn tonight. So Friday night in the Garden is always a great time. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. If your camera's out, we'll just keep the audio. It's all good.
The mic's working, so I can still hear.
All good, bro. Just recapping some of these games. All right, let's get into tonight's games. And the first one here is going to be, well, let's talk about this game real quick. I don't know if you have a pick on it. I do actually have a pick. I was just looking at these two teams earlier. Let me just get over here. It's going to be Akron. Have you ever seen Akron play? It's going to be Akron You with me?
Yep. Yeah,
All right.
I've heard. I can hear the whole time. The mic
Oh,
works
okay.
fine. It's just the camera's messing
All
up.
right. Yeah, I just got to keep bringing you back up. Oh yeah, Akron against Toledo, and Akron seems like they could score,
Yeah.
like it's with ease. So I like Akron in this game. I'm going to take the over as well. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I picked them to win the conference tournament, so I've seen them twice this year, and they look pretty good. They look like a team capable of pulling an upset in the tournament. So I'd like to see them there. So I expect them to keep winning
Their
because they've
leading
got to win the
scorer, Nate,
tournament.
the Johnsons duo, Nate Johnson and Tavari Johnson. Have you seen those guys?
I've watched them play, but I don't know them too well. Not super familiar with them.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that's going to be a pick for me. Akron -8.5 and the over 163. So there you go. Biggest game to start the night, 6:30. Marquette St. John's. We just talked about Marquette, squeaking by Xavier last night. That was a great game. St. John's is favored by 3.5. St. John's has been waiting to win a Big East tournament since, the early 90s. They're finally back. They took down UConn. They swept UConn. So they're going to be aiming to win this tournament. But Marquette, a lot of experience, senior laden team. Where do you go here? St. John's -3.5. I even saw like 4.5 at some spots.
Yeah, I think it's down to 3 now, which I guess people are liking Marquette, but I still like St. John's. I mean, they've been dominating the league all year. Marquette, it was a lot of Cam Jones. I mean, in that game, he just completely took over to save them, but he's not getting a ton of help. And St. John's has got some depth. They've been playing great defense all season. I just think they're going to keep rolling. I expect them to win this tournament. The Garden, they always have the fans, and I think this is their year.
Yeah, two battles between these two teams. The last one in Marquette, which is just last week, 86-84 in overtime, St. John's win. And then even in the Garden earlier in the year in February, 70-64. So both were close games. I don't really have a strong pick on this, but I think considering that these teams have already played two battles and, Marquette is a senior laden team and they do pretty good in the Garden. I think I'm going to take the points, if I get 3.5, 4, but this is so close. This is such a tough game to pick, but certainly a game worth watching. It's going to be electric atmosphere there in the Garden. All right. So you got St. John's. I guess I'm going Marquette.
We'll bet against each other. Mm.
Yeah. All right. Illinois, Maryland, 6:30. Maryland -1.5 total, 158.5. Illinois is starting to play better basketball of late. They had that little hiccup like a month ago or something, but they're much better now. 4 wins in a row against Iowa, Michigan, Purdue, and Iowa again. They've kind of bounced back ever since they got destroyed, blown out, annihilated by Duke. But what are you going to say? I mean, Duke annihilates most teams, but they did actually, lose 3 in a row before that. Maryland, tough team. I know you like them. They've won 3 in a row as well against Penn State, Michigan, and Northwestern. Who do you like here in this game?
I'm excited to watch this one. I really like both these teams. I think they're very similar in that they're very talented and there's something missing with both. I feel like with Illinois, they're young, so they're not as physically strong. So when they go up against these teams that are super tough and physical, they can sometimes have a problem. And Maryland, their defense sometimes is lacking. But when they're both clicking on all cylinders, they're two teams that could make a deep run, I think. And so I'm excited to see this game. I lean a little Maryland, but not really. I'm not sure. So I wouldn't bet it just because I want to sit back and enjoy it. Illinois looked good yesterday. I expect it to be close.
Yeah, I would say I don't have a play here. I would say I'd lean Maryland as well. But yeah, it could go either way. The spread reflects that -1.5 total, 158.5. Any thoughts on that?
Probably a high scoring game. I feel like neither defense is great. They both got a lot of offensive talent. So over I think I don't usually do the over-unders, but I think I will do the over now that you've mentioned that. I like that a lot.
You're going to make that official. Yeah, because I was thinking about yesterday, like Iowa and Illinois. We should have thought that game
Yeah, they
was
scored
going to be
over 100, right?
that game was going to. Yeah, I mean Illinois plays a lot of over. So you're going to make that official pick here, the
Yeah,
over in this
I
game.
like that. I like the over a lot. What'd you say it was?
158.
Oh yeah, I like it.
All right, nice. I'll take that. All right, let's put that down for you. And all right, next game here. Let's. Well, I guess we'll get right into it. North Carolina Duke. Yesterday, Cooper Flag goes down early on. Bad ankle roll. No fractures. Sounds like he's highly doubtful to return, which makes sense. They have bigger aspirations, trying to win the NCAA tournament. Cooper Flag is not coming back next year. So it makes sense. I doubt we'll see him the rest of the time in this ACC tournament. So North Carolina, still kind of on that bubble, probably in the tournament right now, but things could change. A win here certainly puts them in, despite, missing Cooper Flag. They're getting 6.5. The total's 152.5. You have any plays here?
What a turn of events, huh? The ACC was just going to be a bore fest, I think. Duke was going to crush everybody. And now it's interesting. I sadly still don't think we're going to win. I still think Duke has enough to probably win the game, maybe even still cover. But, now we have some hope. Carolina's got hope they can win this game now. And I was really not impressed against Wake Forest. I wanted us to really make a big statement in that game. I didn't think we played very well. Luckily, Wake Forest is not playing very well either. And Carolina kind of pulled away towards the end. I think we've probably did enough to get in the tournament with that win. But to feel comfortable, Carolina needs to win this game. And, without Cooper Flag, we've definitely got a much better chance than with him. But Duke still, the size, they've just got so much size and they're deep. They've got enough players.
Sounds like Malik Brown's going to be back. He got hurt too. He doesn't play a ton of minutes, but still a pretty important player to the team. Sounds like he's going to be back.
I really liked him at Syracuse. I mean, the fact that he's a bench player for them, he would start for pretty much anybody in the country, and he's really good. I feel like he's just now starting to find his role with this team. He seemed a little tentative early on in the season, like he was trying to figure out where he fit in with all these good players they have. And because, I mean, he's a guy who can be a go-to guy. And for them, he's their 6th or 7th option. It's that's how good and deep they are. So I wish I could believe that we were going to win, but I kind of think Duke's still going to do it. I kind of still think Duke's just going to win the ACC tournament even without him, and that's going to be pretty impressive if they can do that.
So you don't think they're going to cover Carolina? You would take Duke if you had anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do it because obviously I don't want to cheer for that, but if I had to bet it, I would still take Duke. Carolina's just not. We're not consistent enough. We have definitely playing better than we were a few weeks ago, but like I said, the Wake Forest game, I expected us to come out and just dominate them if we were playing well, and we struggled. We were losing for a big portion of the game. We turned it on late and won, but Wake has not been playing well at all, and for us to struggle with them, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, Con Kneppel stepped up yesterday with 28 points. People are talking about him being a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
And, he's certainly going to step up in his absence. So if you're playing those DK lineups, which actually I'm going to have to look at those. I'm going to have to put some of those together tonight. He's going to get, a lot more looks now with Flag out. But certainly, I mean, Carolina, Duke, I don't have a play either. I don't know what's going on. I'm rooting for Carolina, though. I'd like to see them possibly win, but they're going to need, RJ Davis to just probably go off the entire game.
Yeah.
Which is going to
be it's a huge opportunity because, Louisville and Clemson, they're good teams, but they're very beatable. So if Carolina can beat Duke, they can certainly win that championship game as well. So I'd love to see it, but it's hard for me to believe just as much as I've seen this year, just in Duke's size. I mean, the size is a problem. Because we're little.
Any thoughts on the over-under, 152.5? I feel like the under is the better play. Actually,
Yeah,
you know what?
maybe.
You know what? I'm gonna make that a pick. I'm gonna take the
Yeah.
under 152
Yeah,
and a half.
Duke's defense is really impressive. We'll see if they can still play the same kind of defense without Cooper Flagg. I mean, he's a huge part of why their defense is so good, but I'm sure it'd still be pretty solid.
Yeah. You figure Flagg's out. The rest of the team's gonna have to step up. Higher intensity defense, high intensity game. Yeah, I kind of like the under. The public will probably be taking the over. Even with Flag out, they'll probably still be taking it. So I'll take the under in the Carolina game. All right. Yeah, I mean that's unders are boring as hell and they suck.
It's like,
sometimes they're smart to take. So what are you gonna do?
it's probably not a bad play.
All right, let's get the next game here. BYU, Houston.
Yeah,
this is an interesting game. We're gonna go
that's my team.
We're gonna go on different spots here. I do like the way BYU's playing, and this spread actually was 6.5. Now it's up to 7.5.
I kind of like BYU to win.
Wow, that's surprising. Because
I'm definitely taking the spread.
All right, well, let's get your take because Houston destroyed them last time, 86-55. Now, you could say BYU's playing much better basketball of late. They've won, 11 straight games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 straight games here. So, yeah, they're on fire right now. They're banging threes left and right. They beat a good Iowa State team yesterday, 96-92. During that 9-game winning streak, they went to Arizona and won. They went to Iowa State and won. They destroyed Kansas. Houston, though, they don't really cover a lot of big spreads, but they could win by 7, 8 points and just grind you out. That seems what they stay doing. Going to Arizona, winning by 4, beating Iowa State at home by 9, going to Texas Tech, winning by 8. Beating Kansas by 6, going to Baylor, winning by 4. But I noticed that BYU, they lost to Houston, who's kind of a physical team, obviously, and then they lose to Cincinnati. They kind of lost double digits to Cincinnati. So kind of more athletic teams, bigger teams. Maybe that's something that they struggle with. So I'm going to go with Houston here. I know BYU's hot, and they certainly could definitely come out and beat Houston and surprise Houston, but Houston just seems like they just keep it rolling. And they just keep getting it done.
They do.
And grinding it out.
I don't like to bet against them very often, but BYU I've been riding them every single game for a while now. Something clicked for them about halfway through the season, and their offense is one of the best in the country. And they're tough too. They're a much tougher team than they have been. Iowa State played out of their mind yesterday. They were shooting. Curtis Jones was just hitting everything.
On fire. Yeah.
And they still won the game. It was impressive because, it's hard when somebody goes off like that and just hitting everything, and they never really wavered. And BYU, I think, hit 18 threes or something crazy like that. I love this team. I picked them to win this tournament, so I'm sticking with them.
All right. Yeah, so we'll see. Like I said, maybe they struggle with physical teams, but maybe, like you said, they've turned a corner. They're kind of physical themselves. They got some good bigs, and they could just shoot the lights out of the ball.
Yeah, it's their scoring. I don't know that Houston can keep up with them in scoring.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to take the over in this game too. Over 134.5. Now, Houston overs are never really nice to take.
Yeah.
But I feel like Houston's going to be able to put up some points. They put up 86.
They're going to have to, I think.
Yeah, they put up 86 last time. So, maybe we get a split here. Yeah, I like it too.
I go with the over as well because BYU just puts up points, and if Houston's going to win, they're going to have to score. They're not going to be able to just shut BYU down like they do most people.
All right. And again, these games are kicking off soon, so make sure you get it in. Make sure you find the best lines. You want to do some DK lineups. You could do that too. Any players to watch here on both ends that stick out to you, Josh?
For BYU and Houston?
Yeah.
Houston's definitely LJ Cryer. That's their guy most of the time. For BYU, these guys have just been shooting the lights out. Richie Saunders, man, he's a guy who I think is going to end up making the NBA. And you look at him when you show up to play against him and think he's like a guy at the YMCA. He's not going to intimidate anybody, but he has just been playing phenomenal, man. And they've got shooters all around him, and then they got Keita in the middle, who's just been an absolute beast. So I just love this team. I mean, I've been in love with them for weeks now. So
we got a good one here in the Conference USA semis. Middle Tennessee and Jacksonville State tied up with 38 seconds left.
I got that on. I'm looking at it.
Come
on, yeah. Jacksonville State.
BYU. Actually, I did take Middle Tennessee. So,
did you?
What's his name was banging threes left and right last night. What was his name? Oh, Boscovich was banging.
Oh, yeah,
he only averages 6 points a game. Right. He only averages 4 points a game.
Yeah, he looked really good early in the year. I think did he get hurt or something? Because I feel like he was out for a while.
He's had 11 and 10 in the last 2 games.
Yeah, they're a very talented team. I'm impressed. These shooters they've got too. Nell and Darren Hall out there. Yeah, these guys can shoot. Nell is just hits everything. If he's open, it's in. They're just really impressive to me. I mean, they're tough too.
That's good. That's going to be a great game starting at 7 on ESPN2. Another great game. Missouri, Florida. Florida favored by 8.5. Total 162.5. I like Florida in this game, man. Florida seems like, to me, again, I want to watch the rest of these conference tournaments, but to me, I think they've been the most impressive team, I guess, with Duke. And I think you agree.
I do. And now that Cooper Flagg's injured, you got to say, door open for Florida. I mean, I think they're the favorite in this tournament and in the big tournament.
There you go. Bet them to win the SEC tournament and bet them to win the NCAA tournament. Florida hasn't won the NCAA tournament since they went back-to-back. What was it, 2006, 2007? I think it was around that time. But 6.5, do you like, I mean, 8.5, do you like Florida to cover here?
Yeah, I do like it still. It's a little more than I'd hope it would be, but I like them. Missouri, they've been a solid team all year, but they don't have anywhere near the talent level of Florida. So I think if Florida brings their A game, they should win this very comfortably, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I like Florida. I like Florida minus the 8.5.
I thought Missouri was going to lose it yesterday, but then they kind of took control. And
yeah, that was a close game. And then, Hubbard took like 7 threes at the end. He missed every single one.
Yeah, Mississippi State has been so disappointing. I feel like they have a lot of talent on that team, and they don't play good enough defense, and they're just not smart enough. Not a smart enough team.
And Missouri had lost 4 of their last 5 coming into that game yesterday. 7 to Arkansas, lost to Vandy by 4, lost to Oklahoma by 12, and lost to Kentucky by 8. So, yeah, I think Florida, man, they're just a machine right now. The inside-outside game they have, going to Alabama, winning there, going to Auburn, beating Auburn. I mean, they're just getting it done in the hardest spots. So I think Florida is going to be the pick. And then the total, 162.5. To a lesser extent, I'll probably just take that too, because I feel like Florida is going to, probably score like 95 points in this game.
Yeah, it should probably be a high-scoring game.
So you're going to make that official, Florida, for your pick?
Yep, I've got them in there. I put Florida in some parlays just to win too.
How about the over? Are you going to take the over too?
I won't make that an official bet for me, but I kind of like it. But
all right, I'll leave it.
I'm trying not to make the fringe bets. I'm trying to ones I really have the conviction on.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. I mean, you could get in trouble doing that with the tournament on, all these games on. You want to watch them. You make too many bets, and you get a little crazy. Try to stick to the games that you feel the strongest about. And I would say try to bet every game the same. Try not to go too crazy, or at least keep them within range. Don't.
That's
go
a smart move, because I seem to lose every big bet. It's like I get punished for like
there's nothing
going too hard.
Yeah, there's nothing worse like winning 3 games in a row and then you bet one game bigger and then you end up, breaking even or even losing money because you bet bigger than all those other 3 games. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
that's
happened a
just
lot.
because you have a great record. Yeah. So I think betting even or certainly kind of within a close range, maybe within like, you know,
Yeah.
just a close range is just a smarter strategy.
Yeah, you don't want to bet
Um,
5 times more on one game than you did on
no,
the other.
no,
Those are the ones I
no.
get punished on.
Yeah, no, definitely happens to me a lot too as well. All right, let's see if let me see real quick. We got a lot of semifinals in the smaller conferences. Do you have any thoughts on any of these games? Morgan State, Norfolk State, Iowa, Iona, Quinnipiac,
It's
Tulsa, North
been
Texas,
There's just been
Kent
a ton of upsets in these smaller leagues. It's been
Kent State, Miami,
pretty wild.
Ohio. Any thoughts on any of these?
I do like Kent State. I haven't seen these teams a whole lot, so it's more not based on as much as the other games, But I had liked Kent State earlier in the year. I like them as a program. I mean, they're a pretty solid program year in year out. So I did put a small wager on them. I haven't seen Miami of Ohio hardly at all, though. So
Yeah, Kent State is giving 4.5. So you want to make that official pick?
yeah,
Kent State.
sure.
All right, take the Kent State side there.
Since I did already bet them, I'll throw that one in.
All right. Let's see here.
It's one of those based on far less information than the others, though. So it's when you haven't even seen one team play. It's Miami of Ohio. They snuck into that 2 seed in that conference because they haven't really been up there for a lot of the year. Because I kind of try to keep an eye on those standings throughout the year and try to at least get a visual on the top seeds. They must have kind of climbed up late.
Okay, next game, going back to the Big Ten, Purdue versus Michigan. Purdue -2.5. Purdue was in a tough one. Actually, both these teams were in tough games. Purdue struggled with USC, which was surprising. And then you have freaking Michigan, who actually, no, they didn't play it. Sorry. Well, yeah, Purdue struggled with freaking USC, but they get the win 76-71. Now they're favored -2.5. These two teams played February 11th at Michigan. Michigan won 75-73. I like Purdue. I like Braden Smith. I like a bounce back revenge game. I think they'll play much better tonight. So I'm going to take Purdue -2, -2.5. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Purdue is a team I trust a lot more. They are what they are. I feel like they're not the most talented team, but they play really hard, and they're going to be the same team night in, night out. I think USC is one of the more disappointing teams on the season. I think that put them on my short list of 4 or 5 teams that are super talented that were just don't get it done. Like with Rutgers and Arkansas, and these teams have tons of talent, but they lose too many games. And Purdue is just solid, hung in there. Michigan, I think, is the more talented team, but you never know what you're going to get with them. I feel like they have way more letdowns. I'd probably lay off this game, but if I had to pick, I would take Purdue as well, just because I trust them a lot more. Your boy Braden Smith is playing real well, and I don't trust Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan's dropped 3 straight. So obviously this is a spot where they're going to be ultra focused. It's kind of like, they're in the tournament now. They could totally revamp here. But maybe they're just kind of falling apart here down the stretch too. Because they did lose 2.
What it seems like to me.
They did lose 2 home games to Illinois and Maryland, and then got beat up on the road by 17 to Michigan State. All right, next game, big game. Actually, we'll start with the Big East, then we'll get into the SEC. UConn, Creighton. Creighton almost loses to DePaul. They needed overtime to beat DePaul. DePaul was kind of, my Georgetown Hoyas 3 times a lot this year, which is absolutely pathetic. But DePaul seems like they're on the up and up, more so than Georgetown. So hopefully they fire Ed Cooley, but it's probably not going to happen. They'll probably give him another year, and maybe they'll make the freaking. They'll probably get one win in the conference tournament, or maybe they'll make the tournament and knock down the first round. Then he'll get another year, and it's just going to be a long thing before they accomplish nothing, and then he'll eventually get fired. It's probably what's going to happen.
I felt really bad for DePaul last night. They were like, I think they were up 11 with like a minute and a half to go, and Creighton came back and tied it. And I thought they were going to get blown out in the first overtime, and they started to get blown out, and then they came back, sent it to double OT. But I mean, Creighton really has no business being in this game right now, and you can look at it either way. The fact that they're kind of playing with house money here, maybe they're playing loose and free, and UConn's kind of struggled. They got a lot of pieces back from those two-time champs, but they are not the same team, that's for sure.
Yeah, these two teams kind of go back and forth. This year, January 18th, Creighton won at Connecticut 68-63, and then at Creighton, February 11th, UConn wins 70-66. UConn now has won 5 straight against Georgetown, Providence, Marquette, Seton Hall, and Villanova. And that game was close with Villanova, and then they blew it open at the end. Wugo Poplar was going off, man.
I like him.
Yeah, he seemed like he got better since he left Miami. But yeah, Villanova was on the bubble. That was a huge game for them. Now they're probably going to be out.
They were playing really well for a while, and then it's like they just quit scoring, and UConn just pulled away at the end.
Yeah.
I kind of like UConn in this game, but I don't feel super strongly about it.
I'm kind of the same. I'm kind of the same way. I don't really have anything strong here. Either way, I'll be watching. Obviously, it's going to be a big game in the Garden, a Big East semifinal. But total 139.5. Anything there?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. Probably it's a good line. I mean, I'm probably laying off this game. I just don't know what to expect from these teams. I think it could go either way. There's so many games on at the same time. I feel like I need to add a third TV here. They stacked them all. They stacked them all together here.
Yep.
I gotta be focused on Carolina Duke, obviously. But
All right, next big game of the night: Kentucky, Alabama. Again, Kentucky played a great game. Probably the game of the night with Oklahoma. There was so many good games yesterday, but they get that win. Oklahoma by 1. Oklahoma was on the bubble. Again, we already talked about. We'd love to see Jeremiah Fears. Josh has him as a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. Him in Oklahoma in the draft. Bama, their last win came at Auburn, 93-91. Great win there after losing to Florida. They went through a gauntlet of playing Tennessee, Florida, and Auburn. One out of the 3, but played close in every single game. These two teams played twice this year. February 22nd, Bama won 96-83, and January 18th at Kentucky, 102-97. So who do you like here? This is another tough game to pick. Anything strong here? Plus 7.5, Kentucky.
I think if Alabama plays smart, they're going to win this game easily because I don't know if you noticed, but Lamont Butler went out again, the shoulder.
Yeah.
So they're down their point guards, and they struggled at the end of that Oklahoma game. When Oklahoma started pressing them, they turned the ball over over and over again because I think they were up 10 maybe towards the end of that game, and they just kept turning it over, and Oklahoma came back, took the lead. So if I was Alabama, I'd start out pressing from the get-go, and they should win by 20 if they do that because, they're having Kentucky's having a hard time handling the ball, and Alabama's deep, and they've got a lot of talent. And if I'm the coach, I'm just pressing from the opening tip. And if they do that, I think they should win easily. So I like Alabama. I like the over too. I mean, these teams both can score, and they don't play the best defense. So you said it was 102-97.
Yeah, the first game, and then the second was 96-83.
Should be a lot of points.
Yeah.
Alabama, I think Alabama should win this handily.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, Kentucky looks good on the surface, but another emotional win. And I feel like Alabama is the better team. And I
they're just playing without their point guards. I mean, that's tough. They were having a really hard time handling the ball.
Do you want to pick Alabama in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I like them a lot. It's just it's unfortunate for Kentucky because I think they're a very good team, and I love Oweh and their bigs. But when you don't have a point guard, that's a problem, especially against a good team who's got the size and the speed and the depth that Alabama does. Like it, I think if Alabama lets them off the hook and doesn't press them at all, Kentucky has a chance to stay in the game. But they cannot handle a full court press all game long, and I think everybody should do that against Kentucky right now.
Okay, and we're going to take the over as well, 179.5. So, all right, another big game tonight, Arizona versus Texas Tech. Arizona takes care of Kansas. They had lost to Kansas the week prior at Kansas, 83-76. They win yesterday, 88-77. Texas Tech beats Baylor by 2 yesterday as well. Texas Tech, JT Toppin, man, he's a beast, huh?
Yeah, he won Player of the Year in the conference. That's impressive. I mean, I love Texas Tech. They jumped on Baylor. They were killing them, and Baylor made a great run to get back in that game. I saw Darion Williams getting some work done on his leg over there on the bench. I hope he's okay. I didn't notice if he really came back and was effective or not. But I like Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech. I just trust them a lot more. Their defense is much better. They're a tougher team. Arizona, question their toughness a little bit. And they kind of go as Caleb Love goes. So, if he brings his best game and scores 30 points, Arizona definitely has a size advantage with Visar in there. He's a big 7-footer plus.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, they've got the tools to give Texas Tech trouble, but I really like Texas Tech. Their consistency and their toughness, I would go with them.
Yeah.
And the spread's very small, right? Like 2 points or something?
2.5, yeah.
Yeah, I took Texas Tech.
Yeah, I like Texas Tech too. So we'll make that official. Anything over the over-under 152.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably lean under if I had to take any, because I just think Texas Tech clamp down, play some great defense. They sometimes can struggle to score a little bit, but I think they find a way to win in this game.
Revenge game for Texas Tech as well. They lost to Arizona February 8th at Arizona, 82-73. So definitely will have a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder. You want to make the under an official play?
Yeah, sure, why not? I like it.
All right.
I feel like they're gonna struggle to score at times, but they'll put the clamps on Arizona when they need to. And they can probably harass Caleb Love and force him into some bad shots. He does that.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech, 20th best in the country, allowing 3-pointers, 3-point made, 55th 3-point percentage. The rest of their defense is, kind of mid, but it's not like Arizona's offense is, their best trait is field goals made. They're 40th in the country. 18th.
The one concern is Darion Williams. If he's hurt, that's a problem.
I don't see anything here. I think he's fine.
Okay. They were working. Yeah. I know they were working on his calf a lot on the sideline. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, right now I don't see anything, but something to pay attention to. All right, a couple more here. Clemson, Louisville. Interested to get your thoughts here. Chucky Hepburn with the game winner yesterday. They're getting 1.5 here. These two teams played. They split on their home courts. Louisville won the last one, 74-64. Actually, no. I'm sorry. That was this year. They only played once. Louisville won by 10 at Louisville. So any thoughts here? I was kind of wanted to pick Louisville, but I feel like, and I know Clemson didn't play that great yesterday. They only won by 3 against SMU. But, I mean, they've won they're on fire right now. I think they've won 9 or 10 straight.
Yeah.
And I feel like they might – and Louisville's on fire too. I feel like Louisville's won 10 or 11 straight. But both these teams are red hot right now. But I feel like Clemson, just looking at their schedule, they might be the better team. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think both those win streaks speak more to the weakness of the ACC than anything else. Both these teams really struggled yesterday. I mean, with subpar teams. I mean, Stanford was leading that game against Louisville. They they were winning by a lot. I think they were up 15 in the second half and blew it.
Yeah.
I mean, Louisville looked good coming back, but you can't dig a hole like that against Stanford. And then SMU was right there with Clemson all day long. Clemson was having a hard time scoring points. Clemson's done a good job of just getting it done, doing what they got to do to win. Coming into this tournament, I would have definitely picked Clemson to make the championship game. I'm less confident in that after watching them play yesterday, but SMU is a better team than Stanford, so the fact that they both struggled, I lean Clemson, but not super confident about it. So I wouldn't want to bet this game. I might take the under, depending on what it is.
140, 141.
Yeah, I kind of like the under in this game, but because Clemson can really struggle to score at times. Their offense was not looking great yesterday, but they got it done.
You want to take that Clemson under 141?
Yeah, we'll go with the under. Yeah.
Right.
I need to start paying more attention to these over unders because there are definitely some good opportunities, and I don't even look at them most of the time. So
yeah, no, definitely. And again, last time they played, 74-64, and Josh is right. Like even though both these teams have winning streaks, but Clemson did beat Duke at home by 6.
Exactly.
So that's a great win. But yeah, they beat FSU, they beat SMU, Notre Dame, Virginia, BC, Virginia Tech, and then Louisville, same thing. They beat Stanford, Cal, Pitt, Virginia Tech, FSU. So the ACC is down. These two teams are obviously one of the best teams in the ACC, but you can't buy too much into that winning streak. But at least Clemson beat Duke, which is obviously an
that's
impressive
huge.
one.
That's huge. I mean, that says a lot because no one else was able to do that.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, Mountain West. We got Boise State at New Mexico, 9:30. Boise State wins yesterday against San Diego State. Boise State kind of on the bubble. They get a huge win. San Diego State kind of on the bubble too. So that was a huge game for both teams. But Boise State, I think, needed a little bit more. New Mexico, take care of San Jose State by 9 or 11 rather. But the favorite by -1.5 here. This is going to be a good game. Very, very close game. Degenhart and the best player on Boise State. He had a nice game yesterday. Who do you like in this game?
I like New Mexico. I think boy Donovan Dent, really like him.
Yeah.
And Nelly Jr. Joseph, he's a solid big man inside. I like them. I really like them. I was excited to see the spread be so small. So definitely go with New Mexico there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Boise, they might be a little hungrier here. They still kind of maybe need to get one more win. New Mexico probably is in the tournament regardless. So I feel like Boise, it's dangerous. So I don't have a strong pick. I think I'd lean Boise.
They definitely are more. They need the win more for sure. But I mean, how many teams are going to get in here? It'll be interesting to see how many. They seem to be the last couple of years letting a lot of Mountain West teams in, more than I would have let in.
Yeah, last year I think it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, which is too many.
I think they all lost in the first round.
Yeah, I think this should be 2-bid league at most.
I think this year it's only going to be 2. It's going to be New Mexico and maybe one other team.
Yeah, I like Utah State as well. Both of those teams, I think they'll both take care of business, play in the final. Boise State, I don't think they're as the size disadvantage inside. Joseph in there is a big boy, and I think they're a little more athletic and bigger. And I think that's the difference for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched New Mexico play a couple of times, and when they're on, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good team. And Donovan Dent, like you mentioned, he definitely has played a lot better this year. So no official pick here. Oh no, you like New Mexico? My bad. Right?
I'm taking New Mexico. Yeah, I like them. Okay. I'm not going to mess with the over/under on this game, but I
146.5.
I don't want to mess with that, but
all right. Let's see what we got left. Couple games, nothing
Utah
major.
Utah State in that conference impressed me as well. I mean, for Colorado State, I really like that Nikkei Clifford. He's an NBA player, I think, but he doesn't have as much help. I think Utah State is much more well-rounded. They've got a lot of options. They play really hard. they've had a few of their guys who just had so much emotion in their game yesterday. They were just playing so hard. So I really liked what I saw from
That
Utah
game,
State.
Utah State, Colorado State is scheduled for midnight.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a late one. That game's probably not going to end until 2:30. You're going to see those guys in the inside college basketball like 2:00 in the morning on the show.
My girlfriend's going to hate that.
I was looking at this. I kind of like Colorado State based off what they've done recently. You know, winning 8 straight. They won at Boise State. They destroyed Utah State at home. They won at Nevada. They won at home against San Diego State. Utah State lost at Colorado State, lost at Boise State, lost at New Mexico. So, yeah, it's going to be another close one. Utah State's the dog here just by a little bit, plus 1.5. So I guess we'll split it. Maybe I'll go with Boise and you take New Mexico, and then you want to go Utah State and I'll go Colorado State.
Yeah. I mean, Colorado State has the best player in the game. So that you always like that. I just think he doesn't have as much help. You know, his supporting cast is kind of small, not super athletic. They're very reliant on him. And I think if Utah State plays it smart, you know, they're not going to let the one guy beat him. You know, make somebody else do something. And you know, if they let him go off for 30+ points, then you know they might lose.
Yeah, and you know, Utah State, they must have made the tournament a ton of times over the past, you know, several years. They always seem like they lose in the first round. I'm trying to think the Mountain West teams that made a run of late. I know there's been a couple.
San Diego.
San Diego State's the one they've made it to the finals the one year, didn't they?
Yeah. That conference just doesn't have the same level of talent and athleticism as the rest of the country.
Yeah, San Diego State is just really well coached, and they're a good defensive team, and they always have a lot of size. They usually have a good point guard or two. So, you know, they usually, you know, shine when the tournament comes.
And it was still shocking that they made the championship that year, but I mean, they earned it with that defense.
That was a crazy ass year. But isn't that the same year Florida Atlantic made the freaking Final Four?
Yeah, that was nuts.
That was one
brackets of the destroyed on that year.
Yeah, that was one of the craziest Final Fours for sure. Let's see here. I guess that's it. We got Grand Canyon playing. I don't know. We talked about them last week a little bit. You know, that's probably going to be a high scoring game. Grand Canyon should take care of business. And again, they did have a first round win last year against St. Mary's. So if they get into the tournament again, they play against an unathletic team or, you know, less athletic team like a St. Mary's.
Yeah, they killed it. They killed them last year too.
Yeah. No, they definitely dominated. They were just much more physical than St. Mary's. So, all right, man, that's pretty much it. Let's recap the picks. I took the Akron and the over. That game is going on right now. It's 33-25. 8 minutes left in the first. So that's looking pretty good. I took the Carolina under. I took Houston -7. Houston over 134. Florida -8.5. Purdue -2.5. Bama -7.5. Bama over 179.5. Texas Tech -2.5. Too many favorites I have. Colorado State -1.5. Josh got the over on the Illini game, 158. I'm definitely going to bet that as well. St. John's -3.5. BYU +7. Houston over with me, over 134. Kent State, little mid-major pick, -4. Bama as well, -7.5. And the over 179.5. And Texas Tech -2.5. The under in the Zona game, 152.5. Clemson under 141.5. New Mexico -1.5, and Utah State to close out the night.
I'm gonna have to get on here and make these over/under bets. What was the over/under in St. John's Marquette? Because I kind of like the under in that game.
144.5.
Yeah, I kind of like the under. Both those teams play a pretty good defense. That's
all right. You want to add that one too?
Add that one. A defensive battle. I'm getting more into these over/unders. When we keep talking about it, makes me want to bet more of them.
Yeah, I usually like to take the overs, but once in a blue, I'll take it under.
The unders are definitely not as fun to root for.
I'm pretty good at identifying the overs, though, for the most part. The unders are sometimes they look good, and then there's a million fouls at the end, and some guy that never makes threes before, it's like 9 threes. It's just like
it's much more fun to root for the points to be scored than to have them not.
Well, the good thing about the under is you're already winning, but then you got to just slowly wait, but you're always winning the whole time until it goes over, which is good.
Just hope it's a rock fight and they're just brick every missed shot you're excited about.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Not really. This is just the best time of year. I'm really loving this week and next week are my favorite 2 weeks of the year for basketball. I'm loving every minute of it.
Oh yeah. And we'll be back. The brackets come out Sunday. We'll probably be back I would say Monday or Tuesday.
Tuesday, if you can, would be better for me. My Monday and Wednesdays are pretty busy, so
Tuesday should be good. So we'll be back Tuesday to break down, the entire bracket. We'll pick our Final Four. We'll pick our champion. We'll pick our MVP. It's going to be real interesting. We do have the players.
With Cooper Flag out, I think SEC has a realistic chance to have the entire Final Four. I think it's possible.
All right, and we do have our player pools, so we also got to keep that in mind.
That's
maybe we'll have to go after the player pool is over. We can kind of talk about who we took as well. All right, but you can follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. You can follow Josh on X at Hoop Visions. You guys have any questions about players picks? Send them a DM. But if not, we'll be back next week. Enjoy the games this weekend. Have a great weekend. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing to the show. I believe Anthony is going to be on after this with a free agent breakdown of the NFL. I might even join him. We'll see. That's it, guys. Take care. Enjoy the games. Thanks, Josh, for joining me.
All right. See you later.